Today, we're diving into Chapter 14, The Sixth Sense. Take a deep breath and imagine for a moment that beyond the five senses you already know so well, sight, hearing, touch, taste, and smell, there exists another sense, one that cannot be measured by science, but is felt in the deepest part of the human experience. This sense is what Hill calls the sixth sense, and it is the bridge between the conscious mind, the subconscious, and something far greater, what many call infinite intelligence, or the universal flow of wisdom. Now, I know for many people over 40, when we talk about unlocking financial freedom or changing life paths, the conversation often seems very practical. It's about budgets, bills, income, savings, debts, and responsibilities. And yes, those things are real. They matter, and they cannot be ignored. But what if I told you that the real breakthrough, the real shift that takes you from financial struggle to prosperity after midlife, is not only about logic, strategies, or even hard work, but about developing this deeper sense, this inner faculty that guides you beyond ordinary reasoning? The sixth sense is not fantasy. It's not something mystical that only a few enlightened people can touch. Instead, it's a natural part of the human mind that most people never learn to recognize, let alone master. Think about intuition, gut feelings, those sudden flashes of inspiration that appear out of nowhere when you're driving, showering, or drifting off to sleep. Haven't you ever had a solution suddenly drop into your awareness at the exact moment you needed it? That, right there, is the sixth sense peeking through. And the beauty of reaching the stage of life after 40 is that you've lived enough to look back and see patterns. You've had experiences where your instincts guided you correctly, sometimes against all odds. You've also probably ignored your intuition and later thought, I knew I should have trusted myself. That's because the sixth sense is always present, but whether we listen to it is another story. Hill describes it as a kind of doorway through which ideas, hunches, and flashes of knowledge enter. For someone working on wealth and prosperity, this sense is priceless. Imagine standing at a crossroads in your financial life. Maybe you're considering a new business venture, shifting careers, investing in real estate, or even taking the brave step of starting something completely new at 45, 50, or 60. Logic and calculation give you the numbers, but the sixth sense whispers something deeper. This is the path. Or sometimes, be careful here. But here's the important part. You can't force the sixth sense. You can't sit down, furrow your brow, and say, okay, intuition, talk to me. It doesn't work that way. The sixth sense comes when the mind is ready, when you have cultivated discipline, faith, and the ability to clear away mental clutter. It flows naturally after you've aligned your thoughts, beliefs, and emotions with your true goals. And that's why this chapter comes so late in Hill's book. The sixth sense is like the final piece of the puzzle. Before you can access it, you must practice desire, faith, imagination, persistence, decision, organized planning, and all the other principles we've discussed in this series. The sixth sense doesn't show up at the beginning, it reveals itself when the foundation is strong enough to hold it. Think of it this way. If your mind is a garden, the sixth sense is not the first seed you plant. It's the flowering at the end of a long season of cultivation. You cannot rush it, but once it blooms, it gives fragrance and color to everything else. Now let's bring this idea closer to financial prosperity after 40. Many people in this stage of life carry regret about past choices. Maybe you feel you missed opportunities, or you stayed too long in a job that drained you, or you made financial decisions that didn't work out. These regrets can block the sixth sense because they keep your focus tied to the past. The key here is to release the shame, the guilt, the constant replay of what-ifs. When your mind is cluttered with noise, intuition has no space to speak. But when you quiet the inner critic and start to trust again, trust yourself, trust that life still has opportunities for you, trust that your best years are not behind you, You create the inner environment where the sixth sense can guide you. It often works through imagination. You may find yourself daydreaming about a business idea or picturing yourself living with less stress and more freedom. Don't dismiss those visions. They may be signals from your subconscious aligning with the wisdom of the sixth sense. Of course, not every dream is practical, but among them are the seeds of true transformation. Here's an example. Imagine you're considering starting a small online business, but fear tells you you're too old for this. Technology is complicated. What if you fail? Those are the voices of doubt. But in a quiet moment, your sixth sense may flash an image of you successfully serving clients, generating steady income, even enjoying the process. The fear says stop. The sixth sense says go. Which one do you think will lead you closer to prosperity? When you listen to the sixth sense, it doesn't mean ignoring reason. It means combining reason with wisdom. Think of it like sailing a ship. Reason is the compass. It tells you where north is. But the sixth sense is the wind. It propels you forward in ways the compass alone never could. The sixth sense also helps in protecting you. Many successful entrepreneurs will tell you that their greatest decisions didn't come from spreadsheets, but from hunches, moments where they felt an inner yes or no and followed it. How many financial disasters have been avoided by listening to that little nudge? How many opportunities have been seized because someone trusted a sudden flash of inspiration? If you are over 40, your life experience actually sharpens this sense. Why? Because you've seen enough cycles of success and failure to recognize patterns. You've made mistakes that taught you lessons. You've had moments of insight that carried you through storms. All of that builds the library from which your sixth sense draws. You're not starting from zero. You're carrying decades of wisdom waiting to be activated. But here's something crucial. The sixth sense is not about waiting passively for inspiration. You must prepare your mind daily. Through affirmations, through visualization, through meditative moments of silence, you clear the channel. Think of it as tuning a radio. The frequency of infinite intelligence is always broadcasting, but you have to adjust your dial to pick it up clearly. Hill often described how he would call on his inner counsel, imaginary meetings with great thinkers from history. Whether you imagine conversations with mentors, ancestors, or role models, these practices stimulate the sixth sense. They allow insights to surface that you might otherwise miss, and the more you practice, the stronger it becomes. Now let's pause for a moment and make this practical. How can you use the sixth sense to resolve financial struggles after 40? Start small. Each day, set aside a few minutes to sit quietly and ask yourself, what's the one step I can take today toward prosperity? Don't force an answer. Just hold the question and notice what comes up. Maybe it's a reminder to call a contact. Maybe it's an idea for a side project. Maybe it's simply the feeling, don't give up. That's the sixth sense at work. Over time, this practice compounds. You begin to trust yourself more. You begin to recognize the difference between fear-based thoughts and intuitive guidance. And as you act on these insights, you build momentum. Prosperity grows not only from effort, but from alignment. And the sixth sense is the compass that aligns your effort with your destiny. Some people may call it intuition, some call it spiritual guidance, others call it gut instinct. The name doesn't matter. What matters is learning to listen. And as you do, you'll notice something powerful. The sixth sense does not only bring ideas, it also brings peace. When you know deep down that you're on the right path, you move forward with courage. And that courage is exactly what you need when rebuilding your financial life after 40. The truth is, prosperity at this stage of life is not about racing against time. It's about entering a new rhythm, a deeper flow. The sixth sense helps you step into that flow. It helps you see opportunities where others see obstacles. It helps you reframe age not as a limitation, but as a source of wisdom and strength. So as you reflect on this chapter, remember this. The sixth sense is not something you chase, it's something you cultivate. It awakens when you prepare your mind, when you quiet your doubts, when you open yourself to guidance greater than your own logic. And when it speaks, whether through a flash of inspiration, a sudden idea, or a gentle nudge, listen, act, trust. Because the real wealth, the real prosperity, begins not in the bank account, but in the mind. And when the sixth sense becomes active in your life, it can lead you to both. Did you like this video? Then you know what to do. Hit like, leave a comment, share it, and subscribe. Remember, this content is just the beginning. In the link below, in the comments, you'll find something special to keep growing.